If you are into manifesting or concepts of similar nature, then you must have heard of Neville Goddard one way or the other. Neville Goddard is one of the greatest spiritual leaders and manifestation teachers of all times. Neville Goddard's lectures and teachings have impacted millions of people around the globe, and even to this day, people all around the world successfully use his methods to create their own perfect lives. But who Neville Goddard really was? And how did he come around the ideas that he then preached to the world, and they changed millions of lives for the better? In this video, we are about to explore Neville Goddard and his views on manifestation in great detail. Neville Goddard was born in 1905 in Barbados. He immigrated to the United States of America in 1922 and initially worked as a ballet dancer in New York City. But soon after coming to the United States, Neville developed an interest in spirituality, New Age, and esoteric teachings. His passion for esoteric teachings intensified when he met Abdullah, an Ethiopian Jew. Abdullah taught the mystical interpretation of Christianity, and his ideas attracted Neville towards exploring more of those metaphysical concepts. In Neville's words, "If I were called upon to name a man that I would consider my teacher, I would name Abdullah. I studied with that gentleman for 5 years. Abdullah also taught Joseph Murphy, who is also a well-known name in the manifestation community today." Through Abdullah, Neville learned the power of his subconscious and how it gives rise to the outer circumstances in one's life. Abdullah taught Neville that there was no force other than his own imagination that was influencing the way his life was unfolding. Neville mentions that Abdullah not only taught these powerful concepts, but embodied them too. Abdullah was a black man, an Ethiopian Jew, living in the United States when racism was rampant in society. But Abdullah was incredibly confident in his aura. He carried himself with a certain confidence and grace. Abdullah believed himself to be perfect, and that is the reason he never faced any discrimination or any other problem that an ordinary black man would have surely experienced. Under Abdullah's supervision, Neville immersed himself deep into learning Hebrew, the Kabbalah, and the symbolic significance of the scripture. In the 1950s and 1960s, Neville started lecturing audiences about these concepts. Neville taught his audiences about their inner power to create their own reality. Neville, too, just like his teacher and friend Abdullah, believed in the power of one's imagination in creating the circumstances of his own life. Neville believed that man had only one way to master his life, and that was via his imagination. Therefore, the people who learn to control their imagination and use it to bring about positive changes succeed at the game of life, while others who remain at the mercy of outside circumstances become the victim of those very circumstances. In Neville's words, "Stop trying to change the world, since it is only the mirror. Man's attempt to change the world by force is as fruitless as breaking a mirror in the hope of changing his face. Leave the mirror and change your face. Leave the world alone and change your conceptions of yourself. The reflection then will be satisfactory." Not only did Neville Goddard teach these empowering concepts, but he also introduced his audiences to specific techniques that they could use to make their dreams a reality. One of Neville's most famous manifesting techniques is the ladder technique. In fact, he gave this as a challenge to all the skeptics in his audience. Neville wanted to introduce people to the power of their own imagination, hence he devised a ladder exercise. Neville taught his audiences that every night before going to sleep, they would deliberately play out an imaginary scene in their mind. In the scene, the person would see himself climbing a ladder, and they were also asked to visualize the scene in as much detail as possible. While doing this every night, Neville also asked them to affirm to themselves, "I will not climb a ladder all day long." The logic behind this daytime affirmation was very simple. Neville wanted to demonstrate to his audiences that their subconscious is much more powerful than their conscious mind. So, if they would have impressed their subconscious with the act of climbing a ladder at night, consciously affirming the opposite would do nothing to what has already impressed on the subconscious. And then, through some bridges of incidents, each person who would have performed the imaginal act of climbing the ladder will somehow climb one in real life as well. A lot of people from Neville's audience took the challenge and were shocked to see that they had to climb a ladder one way or the other. This genius test of Neville Goddard stood the test of time, and to this day, people use it to realize the power of their imagination. Neville also preached that every person is the god of his or her own reality. Only his subconscious and his imagination is the driving force behind everything that happens in his life. Like many other mystical teachers, Neville too emphasized on the importance of words I am. Neville says that whatever you attach with the words I am is bound to become your reality because you are God and there is no operant power in your life but your own imagination. In Neville's own words, I am wealthy, poor, healthy, sick, free, confined were first of all impressions or conditions felt before they became visible expressions. Your world is your consciousness objectified. Waste no time trying to change the outside. Change the within or the impression, and without or expression will take care of itself. When the truth of this statement dawns upon you, you will know that you have found the lost word or the key to every door. I am, your consciousness, is the magical lost word which was made flesh in the likeness of that which you are conscious of being. Now guys, the next step in your manifestation journey is to keep watching this channel. Click now on the video on the screen to watch another inspirational video.